Okay, we're just going to transition over. As you know, we had our Achieve the Dream coaches here. We've launched our Student Success Initiative instead in campus, and we have Nick helping lead our work in that area. So I think it's important that we provide you a brief update on the work we're doing in student success and aligning it with the strategic plan work so that that you're informed. So I'm going to let Nick.
Great, thank you. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk through our student success work so far. Some of what you'll see tonight really isn't necessarily new, but part of my goal is to help you kind of link together the pieces that you might have seen and see how they all kind of integrate into our student success work. The other thing I want to start by saying is when we talk about the student success work, it's not totally as though it's this new thing. College has been doing a lot of things over time to help improve success for our students. The shift to think about as I'm talking tonight is we've had these really great kind of pockets of excellence, great things happening around the college. And the shift we're making now is thinking about how do we connect those pieces that are happening around the institution and integrate them so that we can really elevate that work and impact a broader range of students. So a lot of the work that we've really been doing so far is as we think about that kind of integration and connecting of our efforts, there's a lot of infrastructure, kind of architecture that needs to underlie and serve as a foundation to that work. So what I'll talk about here is really what does that architecture look like, what are those pieces or those components. And what we've done so far is developed a Lancer Success Framework, the Student Success Definition. We've formed a centralized team at CLC that we call our Lancer Success Team to lead those efforts. We've established a process and kind of workflow for that team to use. We've identified key external partners like Achieving the Dream. And then we've also aligned our work to the existing systems at the college, like our strategic plan and our college plan. I'll talk about those in just a second. So one key element of this infrastructure that serves as a foundation for this work is our Lancer Success Framework. And we've seen this before as part of our strategic plan. But this really helps us organize our work around a student's journey. What does their path look like from first connecting to the college all the way through their transition to a four-year institution or the workforce? And this really helps us identify what are the stages and experiences where students might be struggling, and then how do we make improvements within that area, and how do we think about those connections that exist across their experience from entry to exit. Our student success definition you've also seen as well. This is another component that's integrated into our strategic plan. And here really this serves as our North Star for all of the work that we're doing. Any improvement that we want to make or new advancement needs to live up to this definition. This is what we mean by student success. And it really calls on us to think broadly. You can see in this definition here that we're talking about efforts that will impact all of our students, but allow those things to be tailored so that they're personalized and culturally relevant. Another component of what we've done is create a Lancer Success team. And this team really serves as that central hub to coordinate the various efforts happening around the institution to improve student success. And so it's a cross-functional group of about 40 people, faculty, staff, and administration. And we're really charged with these four key areas. Looking at our evidence to identify and prioritize student success opportunities to address, selecting specific strategies to put forward that are aligned with our strategic plan and the evidence that we've reviewed, going about then designing interventions or revising things that we already do at the college to make improvements for our student success, and then monitoring and assessing how well those new improvements have achieved the outcomes we want. I want to spend a little bit of time just giving you a little more background on that Lancer Success team and why we formed that team. One component of that is our Lancer Success Framework and Student Success Definition. As those were developed as we created our strategic plan over the past year, both of those really call on us to think organization-wide and think about the college as a whole system. So all of these great things that are happening at the college, we want to make sure that we're bringing them together and we're connecting those dots so that we can scale up what's working really well and make sure that the organization as a whole is moving forward together in the student success work. In our planning processes, we looked at data and gathered evidence and information from college stakeholders. One of the themes that we kept hearing was, we know there's a lot of great things happening, but we really need to connect them, and we also need to just prioritize the work that's happening. And so again, we came back to this idea of, well, we need a central team to help integrate and connect those pieces and serve as that group that would prioritize the work. We also had several teams already connected to partnerships around Achieving the Dream and Partnership for College Completion and Excellency in Education. And those groups and the work they were doing needed to also be brought into a central group so that we could effectively use those resources. I'll also just mention that the idea of a student success team is not unique to us. It's not a new invention. This is a national best practice. And so it's something that Achieving the Dream has noticed in their research over 15 years working with community colleges, that this is really an important model for the work we're doing. And lastly, as I mentioned, a big part of our launch of this team has been about connecting the existing work that's happening. So the membership of the team was selected based on the major initiatives that are already taking place at the college. And moving forward, we'll continue to think about how do we rotate membership as we advance new strategies and kind of continue the process of existing strategies that we're already monitoring. Another component to our work is sort of this process that the Lines for Success team will use to guide our work. And all of the projects and strategies that you'll see documented in our college plan are at different phases. And you can think of each of these as a different phase. The Discover phase is really about really carefully looking at our evidence and understanding what's happening in our students' experience, getting to the root cause of some of the challenges they might face. Then that design phase is saying, okay, now that we understand some of the challenges and issues, what would we design differently? Is there something that we need to change at the institution? Is there a new intervention that we need to design? Then we would move into a do or implementation phase where we would carry out that design work. And then in our review phase, we would assess, did we actually achieve the outcome we wanted? Did we make the improvement we thought based on this effort? And of course, that kind of cycles back into that Discover. It's an ongoing process where we would continue to review our efforts producing the outcomes that we hope. Another component of kind of this infrastructure that we have are these external partnerships, which are really important. And we've thought about our student success work as CLC student success work. So it's not that we have Achieving the Dream work or Partnership for College Completion work that lives kind of separately or on its own. Each of these external partners is an intentional partner for us that provides some supportive systems that will really inform the college's student success work. So Partnership for College Completion is an Illinois-based organization. They're focused on college completion in the state for both students at 2-year and 4-year institutions, and that's a great network for us to connect to. Achieving the Dream, as you know, is a national organization focused on community colleges, and they provide a lot of excellent resources for us and best practices in what's happening in community colleges nationwide. And then Excellency in Education is another national organization with a particular focus on Hispanic serving institutions, and has done a lot of great work to identify what's working in higher education, particularly for the Latinx population. So those are kind of the foundational pieces to our student success work, and then just to kind of connect the dots on how this all fits together. So our Lines for Success team and the work that we're doing is aligned into our strategic plan. So we know one of the pillars is our access and success for students, and we directly kind of live in that pillar of work. We also have some key connections to equity and inclusion and teaching and learning excellence, because those are critical components to student success as well. And the other pillars are supportive of us being able to do the student success work. Going a little bit deeper within our access and success pillar and the work we do, not only are we aligning to those strategies that have been articulated, but we also want to make sure we're measuring our progress and we're understanding the current state. And you don't need to be able to read all the details here. We'll share more on these scorecards in the future. I just want to explain kind of the point of these scorecards. So this scorecard is our Excellence and Success scorecard, and we've connected it to the Answer Success framework. And we have metrics within each of those phases of a student's journey from connection to exit. And those metrics can give us a good sense of where our students are at now. It can help us prioritize the work by finding where are some of the opportunities that we really want to impact and improve student outcomes. And then moving forward, we would set targets. So over the course of our strategic plan, where would we like to see our students be as we progress? And then, of course, we would measure our progress along the way. So these scorecards are in development. They mentioned this is the Access and Success scorecard. We will have scorecards actually for each of the pillars in our strategic plan. I just wanted to highlight this one tonight. An important piece of this one in particular is that we look at momentum metrics for students as well as long-term outcomes. And those momentum metrics are sort of early indicators of student behavior that have been shown in national research to be correlated to long-term outcomes. So for example, we would look at the amount of credits a student accumulates in their first semester or first year, and that's correlated, of course, to whether they complete a degree or certificate with us. It's important for us to look at those momentum metrics because often that's where we have the greatest potential to impact a student's trajectory. So while that long-term outcome is really critical and we're going to think about that a lot, those momentum metrics give us some more strategic guidance on where we can make a big impact for our students. So I want to map out a little bit for you kind of the year ahead, but really the year in progress because we're starting now. And each of these initiatives are also shown in our college plan document that we have at your places. So again, the Lancer Success team looked at all of the efforts already happening and then tried to connect the dots on those. So some of the work that we have over the course of this year is taking a deep dive at our scorecards and looking at our evidence more closely. And that's a practice typical of schools who join Achieving the Dream in their first year. It's really all about kind of a discovery year and understanding your data better, understanding the student's experience better. We'll do sort of a parallel similar activity where we think about all of the different student supports that we already have on campus and what is the impact and scope of those supports. And part of that work is an inventory of all of the different efforts that we have. What did they look like? How many students are impacted? What are the outcomes that we're seeing so far? So those are both kind of discovery type of tasks. Another project we have ongoing is started as a discovery project, but really has now moved into a design phase, and we're thinking about onboarding and the student's first year experience. And that came out of a lot of input we gathered over the past year through our strategic planning process and as we gathered input on an equity plan we're creating. We heard a lot of feedback about a need to really help students prepare successfully for their first year. And so a team has been brought together to think about how do we redesign those experiences so that they're really optimized from the student's perspective. So we're continuing to work on that, and then we'll work on implementation later on down the road. Faculty and staff professional development, which is really critical to supporting the work we do, is ongoing, and it's placed here both in kind of a design and do, because that's sort of an interactive process where some design is happening and then we're implementing some professional development, and then we kind of go back and forth. Another piece of what we're doing is we're taking a close look at existing support programs and looking at what are some of the great things that are happening that maybe on a small scale now that we want to think about scaling up or integrating into our broader student success efforts. So we're reviewing those, and then we'll think about how do we design that at a bigger scale and then move that into implementation. We also have some work that was referenced earlier tonight that our English and math departments have been championing. And these are efforts where they redesign curriculum processes so that students can accumulate credit that counts for their degree or certificate earlier on. So students who might have formally placed into a developmental class now are able to enter directly into credit-bearing math and English courses. And So that's a sort of in this due implementation phase and it's already underway. Where we'll connect again is reviewing how is that working, how is that working for the students that have taken that path. So we'll review that and look at the data to see what we might need to tweak or what we might need to continue to expand. And then on the bottom there, just some notes about some of the partnership work that's happening along the way. Many of the Achieving the Dream institutes we've sent teams to, and they've come back and shared what they learned at the Lines for Success team so they can continue to support that work. And then we have a few still upcoming that we will participate in along the way. So I want to also share how we expect to continue communicating with the board about the student success work. Having board dialogue regarding the decisions that can support the advancement of our student success will be a critical function that we'll kind of have as a continuing ongoing conversation. You'll see updates on those projects that I just mentioned in the college plan, and that will be a quarterly update that you regularly see. We also have created a student success website, and that is available open to the whole college community, including our board, to see what's happening at any point in time if you want to read more about the work that's happening on campus. We'll also be sharing more on our strategic plan scorecards that I referenced, so that we can discuss more of the data and sort of the current state of where we see our student metrics and also setting targets for where we want to go. And then we also like extending invites to participate in different conferences or events. We had a dinner with the Achieving the Dream coaches recently, and there's an upcoming Achieving the Dream conference in February at the date that you're just a second. So lastly, just wanted to highlight some of the research that's been done by Achieving the Dream in identifying what are some of the key roles of boards that are at colleges that have really done some great work in student success. And so this is based on Achieving the Dream and their national network and reflecting on, these schools that are really achieving positive outcomes, what's happening with their board. And there are some key, really essential roles. And some of this is just engagement in regular updates like this about student success efforts and the outcomes of changes that we implemented. So being aware of the efforts that we've tried and then knowing, well, what happened with that and how are we moving forward to continually improve it. Advocating for student success and really prioritizing it for the college. Setting policy design to create a student-ready environment optimal for student success, financially supporting the student success efforts moving forward, and then really reviewing and discussing data on student success so that that can be used to inform the decision-making about all of these other pieces. These are based on that research from Achieving the Dream, as I said. They also come up in an assessment tool that the college will engage in. At the end of this month, we'll launch, but it'll be open for the entire month of November, and that's called the Institutional Capacity Assessment Tool, or ICAP. That is a survey where we can sort of self-assess some of our key capacities for doing student success work, having a student-focused culture, and we will be inviting all of the board members to participate in that survey. So you'll see questions around these content areas in that survey. I just want to plug here, we have our Achieving the Dream conference coming up in February in National Harbor, Maryland. So February 18th through 23rd. Questions?
Questions for Nick?
You were talking entirely, basically, of educational issues and those type of things that students are facing. Can you talk more about the personal issues, the student-centered, let's call it, issues of simple things like the car won't work, or I have to get child care from a different child care because my regular child care provider wasn't available, or I had to work late, I had to show up late to school. And is the faculty buying into that part where, yeah, students are going to be late sometimes because work will run a little long? So do we have that kind of buy-in?
So I would say we are definitely thinking about those issues, and there's a number of ways where we see that expressed by students, some of it anecdotally and just from student stories. But we also collect data from our students about why they withdraw from courses or why they don't continue between semesters, and so we see some of those themes coming up that are things really outside of the classroom. They're like events that are interrupting their experience. And so the Lancer Success Team has thought about the need to design some strategies to address those issues. We haven't gotten too far into that conversation yet, but I think there is broad awareness that it's really not exclusively issues in the classroom or with academics that are affecting our students' experience. It's much broader than that.
The Lancer Success Framework looks at both academic and non-academic
Good.
components, so it is
Thank you.
in the discovery phase, so that report card, that's kind of the data points. So is that data, is it qualitative as well as quantitative, and how do you collect this data?
That's a great question. So a lot of what you see captured in that scorecard view is quantitative data. Largely it's data where we've tracked our students' progress over time. But we are very much committed to using qualitative data as well. So for example, some of the things that we do would be to look at that quantitative data, start to have some conversations about what those numbers mean, and then engage groups around the college to collect their qualitative feedback, sort of being the experts on the ground and experiencing student interactions every day, have them help us understand the why and how behind those numbers. Because the numbers really just tell us the what. And so we'll kind of use that approach as we go forward, so we really do understand what's at the heart of some of these issues.
Thank you, Nick. Nick's been doing a great job leading this work, so thank you very much. And I do just want to make one final comment. Nick had mentioned the scorecards. We have an example of the Access and Success scorecard in your packet. I will be following up with you with the draft of the scorecards. Our team has been working hard. That's the final step in this strategic planning work. So we'll be bringing those in November as draft form for board input, and we can talk a little bit about how those metrics are being set. But those are important. So, and that concludes my report.